Chapter 521, Invincible Below Overlord, 5. Chapter 521, Invincible Below Overlord, 5. There was still no news from the Void Mantis. After Shiyu came out of the Space Emperor ruins, he sighed. He took out his cell phone and was just about to call Senior Lu to inform her of this good news when suddenly, a black shadow came from the sky. Wu tilde 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 with a huge roar, a yellow-brown ancestral rock wings bird descended. At the same time, a long-haired young man descended from above. The seventh sequence, Ji Feng. Initially, 5th place was first beaten to 6th place by Lu Qingyi, then squeezed to 7th place by Shiyu. Ji Feng was silent for a moment when he encountered Shiyu at the Myriad Mountain. It was very normal for Shiyu to stay here to cultivate after conquering the Space Emperor ruins. Ji Feng? Shiyu looked at this guy in surprise. Shiyu, is the Void Mantis around? I'm here to challenge it, Ji Feng said after a moment of silence. 2 months ago, he lost miserably to the Void Mantis. He knew that he wasn't its match, so he cultivated bitterly for 2 months and came to challenge again. The rewards are all gone, Shiyu said. Not for the reward, but for the battle, Ji Feng said. That's probably impossible. It's in seclusion to challenge the Overlord level. I can't contact it. If I can, I reckon it's also an Overlord. Ji Feng, $$. Ji Feng was extremely silent, feeling very uncomfortable. After returning from his cultivation, he first went to challenge Lu Qingyi. In the end, Lu Qingyi said that she wasn't free and directly rejected Ji Feng. The sequence battle could only be forced in the later half of the year. At the moment, whether to accept the challenge depended on the beast tamer's own wishes. Since Lu Qingyi said she wasn't free, Ji Feng didn't shamelessly chase after her. Therefore, he thought of the Void Mantis and planned to come here to test the cultivation results. In the end, the Void Mantis couldn't either. In the end, Ji Feng's gaze landed on the number 1 person below legend, and the 5th sequence Shiyu. Shiyu? I want to challenge you. Shiyu? I'm not free either. Ji Feng? Why aren't you free either? Ji Feng's mentality collapsed. What was the meaning of this? When a group of people challenged him, he never refused anyone. This, Shiyu was stunned. He was really not free. He had just finished adding points and looked fine now, but his core was still weak. Not only him, 11, Susu, and Baby Ginseng were also weak at this moment. It wasn't their best state. Ji Feng wasn't weak. If he didn't use his best state to fight, Shiyu felt that it was not very stable. After all, Buggy didn't have the anti-magic domain like the Void Mantis to restrict the other party's talent. My pet just underwent overload training. It can't even fight now. It can wait for a few days, Ji Feng said. Moreover, it doesn't have to be a full-strength battle. I just need to challenge your iron-eating beast that defeated the Void Mantis. He wanted to see how strong that iron-eating beast was. After defeating the iron-eating beast, theoretically speaking, it had defeated the Void Mantis. Shiyu covered his forehead and said, "All right, how about tomorrow, Star Capital?" Star Capital? Ji Feng. Yes, I'm going over there to do something. Sure. Ji Feng nodded and said, "I'll wait for you in the Star Capital arena tomorrow." Shiyu also nodded. Well, he wondered how 11 would perform against Ji Feng's trump card pet that could activate its beast-taming talent. Forget it, let's put the battle aside and think about the mechanical conference first. In the past few months, the Donghuang exchange team had first traded with Minghua. Then, they traded with Shuiyuan and Shenfeng. Shenfeng was the country of machinery, the birthplace of mechanics, so there were many top-grade mechanical materials. Shiyu had heard that Donghuang had purchased a large batch of 100 transformation stones. Cough, 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 he didn't know if Jiao Xin still needed them. But he and Ling really lacked them. Chapter 522, Susu can also be sold, 1. Chapter 522, Susu can also be sold, 1. After challenging Shiyu, Ji Feng left in satisfaction. After leaving, he applied to the Star Capital Association to fight. Battles above the master level had to be announced in the city. At the same time, on Shi Yu's side, after seeing Ji Feng leave, he shook his head and continued calling Senior Lu. Soon, the call went through. Through the video, Shi Yu immediately saw Senior Lu in a black and blue battlesuit. "Hey, Senior, where are you?" Seeing that the other party was wearing a battlesuit, Shi Yu asked. "The suburbs of the ancient capital. I accidentally heard and activated a ruin previously and just finished exploring it today. Unfortunately, it's a small ruin. Apart from obtaining a ruin space, I didn't gain much. I wasted another half a month." Shi Yu could sense Senior Lu's resentment through the screen. Shi Yu was stunned. Alright, she didn't even fancy a ruin space at this point, right? However, from Lu Qingyi's perspective, an ordinary ruin space was really useless to her. After all, she had long obtained the legendary ruin space. Apart from exchanging some resources, this new ruin space had no other use. Not bad. At least it can be exchanged for many resources to strengthen pets, Shi Yu said. Yeah. Lu Qingyi smiled and asked, "What's wrong?" "I broke through to level 6 and just came out of the Space Emperor ruins. I won't be able to break through in the short term, so Senior, do you want to try the Space Emperor ruins? I got the key to enter the ruins from the Void Mantis. It doesn't mind me bringing the others over." "Yes." Just as Shi Yu finished speaking, the face on the screen suddenly approached and immediately shouted. However, she was quickly stunned. "You broke through to level 6 so quickly?" If she remembered correctly, Shi Yu broke through to level 5 half a year ago, right? He went from level 5 to level 6 in half a year? This was nothing. Some beast tamers with fortuitous encounters could do it, but the problem was that it had only been 2 years since Shi Yu became a beast tamer. Before breaking through, Shi Yu was known as the strongest below legend Dong Huang. After breaking through, he probably lived up to his name. He approached legend in 2 years and became the strongest below legend. This speed was too much. Even compared to the legendary paths of legendary emperors in history, it was not inferior at all. Lu Qingyi's expression was complicated. What a ridiculous guy she had discovered in that small place in Pingcheng. It's all right, Shi Yu laughed. He still found this slow. "Then Senior, come over quickly," Shi Yu invited. In the Space Emperor ruins, the small courtyard he got Buggy, Baby Ginseng, and Susu to build together wouldn't be torn down. The spiritual plants inside that could assist in meditation and the Lingxi that emitted the aura of purification had spent a lot of effort. It would be a pity to tear it down. Coupled with the Space Emperor ruins, Lu Qingyi's cultivation speed would definitely take off. There were still 8 months until the world competition. Shi Yu hoped that Senior Lu could break through to the legendary level. This way, his safety would be more guaranteed. Most importantly, the venue of the world tournament, in Athena, known as the root of the world, was the place with the most mythical ruins. It was understandable that Lu Qingyi wanted to take a look. He and Lu Qingyi were both archaeologists who specialized in mythical ruins. He hoped that at that time, he and Lu Qingyi could team up and crack a few more mythical ruins. In the last world competition, the World Tree used different mythical ruins as the competition venue. Many contestants obtained benefits, and they didn't know what the situation would be this time. If there were still mythical ruins as the venue of the competition, it would be the home ground of archaeologists like him and Senior Lu. After the notification was completed, Shi Yu began to wait for Senior Lu. At the same time, he summoned Susu and Ling to play. "I'm free anyway," Shi Yu looked at the starry sky. Susu and Ling immediately understood. "Ning tilde. Ning." Susu started gesturing with the white-haired loli in the Rubik's Cube in front of it. "Which direction do we look at this time?" Ling also asked. During this process, the Rubik's Cube divided into countless small cubes and kept assembling. First, it condensed into a mechanical hat and buckled it on Susu's head. It raised an antenna and let Susu become the antenna slime baby. Then, some other cubes quickly assembled into a cosmic telescope. Seeing this, Susu revealed a happy smile. It enlarged its body and quickly used the cosmic telescope. Soon, a white water ball fell from the sky at a high speed. At the side, Shiyu had already prepared the container. Under Susu's control, the white water ball slowly landed in the container. This again. Looking at the white water ball, Shiyu sighed. Susu also looked angry. Why were they all basic resources? Couldn't he pray for some rarer resources? In the past half a month or so, apart from super skills, Shiyu had also occasionally gotten some low-level skills from his pets. As this comparison to super skills didn't take much effort, Shiyu pulled Susu's Blizzard, Star Sea, and Memory Water from Transcendent to the maximum level. Apart from that, Ling's loading and mechanical space had naturally reached the maximum proficiency of the teaching skill, Transcendent. The Transcendent mechanical space was just a larger internal space. As for Transcendent loading, Shiyu was very fond of this skill. He liked it as much as Possession. This was because this skill could turn Ling into a machine gun, or a sniper rifle, when used by Shiyu. It was as if it had given Shiyu a Transcendent firearm skill, allowing him to be one with the weapon. Chapter 523, Susu can also be sold, too. Chapter 523, Susu can also be sold, too. With Shiyu's current physique and Ling's loading, although Ling was only a commander rank now, after they fused, they had nearly 10 million energy points. Shiyu could kill a monarch from afar without any effort. At the moment, the most impressive combination method was for Ling to become a sniper rifle and enter a loading state with Shiyu. Then, Kai Tong would possess Shiyu. Double fusion. It consumed a lot of energy for Shiyu, but it was also really strong. At the moment, they didn't have any skills to cooperate with. In the end, Ling still needed to continue researching the combination strategy. Of course, as he studied it during this period of time, apart from firearms, Ling could also become some other mechanical tools through the 100 transformations. For example, the space telescope. As for what use this thing had, it had to be mentioned that Susu's Star Sea skill. The max-level Star Sea directly allowed Susu to obtain the power of the Star Prayer. It could summon the water resources in the starry sky to the greatest extent through the max-level Star Sea. The white water ball just now was the starry sky strange water summoned by Susu through the Star Sea skill. If there was any special effect of this stupid water, well, there wasn't. It was equivalent to a level 5 resource. It could strengthen the energy value of light-type pets below the monarch level. The effect was even worse than a level 5 light-type energy crystal. Judging from Susu's energy consumption and time consumption, this deal was clearly not worth it. It was better to condense the memory water drop. After all, a max-level memory water drop was too powerful. A transcendent-level memory water drop could only transmit its skill experience, but a Dao proficiency-level memory water drop could allow other pets to transmit their skill experience through the water drop. For example, if Buggy held a drop of memory water, it could transfer its skill into the Dao-level worm's silk experience and teleport it into the memory water drop. Then, other green silkworms could absorb the corresponding skill experience at a high speed through this skill water drop. It was similar to Shiyu's skill index. This was a high-level skill? The only pity was that regardless of whether it was Susu or other pets, after transmitting their skill experience through the memory water drop, this skill experience would be forgotten from their minds. It wasn't that they still kept it after transmitting it. Although he might be able to rely on other skills to quickly recover through analogy, it would indeed affect his memories for a short period of time. Apart from that, transferring the skill experience into the memory water drop and absorbing the skill experience from the memory water drop was not as fast as teaching the skill index. Susu did an experiment. If it wanted to transmit the perfect level of the bubble experience, this low-level skill would take dozens of minutes. If it was absorbed by wild water-type pets by the roadside, the other party wouldn't be able to absorb it for at least half a month. Perhaps this speed could only decrease when Susu's growth level increased. However, because of these effects, the memory water drop could actually be called the Forgotten River Water, the skill-teaching water drop. This was also the reason why the guardian of Dong Huang, who could use water droplets, only converted the skill experience into a memory crystal before its death. When it was still alive, of course it wasn't willing to forget its power. Of course, this side effect did not affect Shiyu's pet. Its pets could all create clones. It could directly summon a clone and let the clone pinch the memory water drop. The time cost would be greatly reduced. Under the lead of the Gem Cat, a world where only clones were injured was born. Although the skill proficiency of the clone was inferior to the main body and couldn't maximize the effect of the skill, it was fine if it really needed the main body to condense the memory water drop. So be it if the skill was forgotten. In any case, it wasn't troublesome for Shiyu to teach it back. Shiyu's pets had terrifyingly high skill proficiency. Coupled with the memory water drop, the memory water drop might be able to become a super resource in the team that was comparable to or even exceeded the time fruit. Therefore, it was better to condense this thing to exchange for resources than to summon strange water to earn money. At the same time, this thing was not bad as gifts. The additional points in the past half a month had almost consumed all of Shiyu's assets. Under the many strong invitations of the Gem Cat, Shiyu was already prepared to open a company with the Gem Cat to be in charge of the sales of high-end resources to earn some extra money. He even planned to hold a private auction not long after the mechanical conference ended and invite some legends and rich people to test the market. He wanted to try the hardening sword that was wrapped around the full-level deterrence for 100 years, the spatial bag woven by the worm silk, the special life evolution fruit made by the ginseng baby, and something like the memory water drop. He wanted to see how much it could be sold for. At that time, Shiyu and the Gem Cat planned to stir up the concept and rarity level, making things rare. After all, although these things were good, they were limited by 11 and the others' growth levels. They could only condense level 5 or 6 resources at most. It required a lot of physical fitness, energy, and time. This investment was better to use it to increase strength and become an overlord. At that time, the resources would be stronger. If they relied on numbers to win, it was better to rely on marketing. Buggy and the others could also have it easier. The first round of legendary resources had already been saved. The next round was to prepare a new round of legendary resources for the pets to break through to the totem level. It was unrealistic to rely on various applications. Shiyu planned to build his business empire like the founders of the 5 major financial groups. Dong Huang, Dragon Palace City, and even the beast tamers of the 6 countries would be his potential customers in the future. Chapter 524, Susu can also be sold, 3. Chapter 524, Susu can also be sold, 3. The Star Sea skill was actually not bad. The rare thing was that the strange water summoned was not the only one. It all depended on luck. It was commonly known as a dog bet skill. Although the white light element mutant water was not very good, Susu had also summoned the blue mutant water previously. The strengthening effect on water element pets was very good. No one knew how many strange things there were in the starry sky. What if he could summon some purple rare water and golden legendary strange water in the future? Susu was quite addicted. As for Ling, in order to study resources from outer space, it also became a support tool. It observed the starry sky with Susu every day. Shiyu was also very supportive of this. Because of the skill fusion, ordinary blue sea sprites had endless energy just by signing a contract with the Sea of Blue planet. Then the blue sea contract skill plus star sea skill equals star sea contract skill. This wasn't too much, right? Susu's goal shouldn't be just the sea, but the Sea of Stars. Ning. The path is the Sea of Stars. All can be cleansed. Susu raised its head, its eyes shining. Before that, it wanted to quickly obtain the Blue Sea Sprite inheritance and become number 1 in the team. The status of the Blue Sea Sprite inheritance in Susu's heart gradually decreased. Becoming first in the team had already become the main mission. A moment later, both Susu and Ling suddenly discovered the abnormality in the sky. Luchingi rode the green spirit wind bird that had evolved into the green spirit phoenix and rushed to the ruins of the Kong capital. When Shiyu saw Senior Lu arrive, he immediately welcomed her with a smile. Senior. Sorry to have kept you waiting, Lu Qingyi apologized after getting off the Green Phoenix. No, Shiyu smiled and handed Lu Qingyi a void keystone. Here, this is the tool to open the Space Emperor ruins. I also opened a subspace inside. It's very suitable for cultivation. I can enter with this. Right on the heels of that, Shiyu told Lu Qingyi about the situation with the Void Mantis. Lu Qingyi nodded repeatedly. She understood. Although the Void Mantis would leave with the Space Emperor ruins after breaking through to the Overlord level, as long as it followed the Void Mantis and walked with it as a guide to the outside world, it could always freeload on the Space Emperor ruins. After all, with a grandfather from the First Bureau, Lu Qingyi still knew how to flirt with big boss-level transcendent creatures. The fact that Lu Qingyi could get a lot of information about the Space Emperor ruins from the Void Mantis was enough to prove that Senior Lu's skills in this aspect were not bad. By the way, this is for you. Lu Qingyi suddenly thought of something and took out a nearly transparent jade from the ruined space. Shiyu was stunned when he saw it. The feeding index tested it but couldn't analyze what it was. It wasn't in the database. However, the feeding index detected a huge energy wave on this jade. This was a level 8 resource. This is Spirit Accumulation Jade, a level 8 resource. I got it from a friend. It contains a chaotic power. Any energy can be injected into it and it can subtly and slowly strengthen any power. Didn't you say last time that 11 didn't succeed in fusing with the power of Yunnan? You can try this. At least it can avoid the consumption of the power of the demon god. As time passes, it might even be able to strengthen the power of the demon god in 11's body, Lu Qingyi said. Spirit Accumulation Jade, Shiyu was very surprised that there was actually such a resource. Senior Lu was right. If 11 had this, it could inject the power of the demon god into this place bit by bit to store it. Then, this Spirit Accumulation Jade would be like interest, producing more and more power of the demon god. At that time, even if he didn't find Yunnan, he could naturally increase the power of the demon god and try to evolve. Also, the power of the demon god used to fight the Void Mantis could also be recovered through this thing. Even if the accumulation of this thing was relatively slow and not enough to support Dark Element evolution in the short term, it was always good to recover a little of the power of the demon god. After all, at that time, if Shiyu successfully developed other evolution paths, the more the better. Shiyu was willing to call it a jade pendant. However, this is too expensive, Shiyu said. Although he kept talking about legendary resources, Senior Lu's personal gift. You've learned to be polite too. Lu Qingyi looked at Shiyu with a smile. In her impression, Shiyu didn't refuse anyone. Cough, cough. Shiyu coughed in embarrassment and said, "All right, I won't be polite then. 11 can indeed use it. I'll take it. Senior, you have to work hard to break through to the legendary level. After I participate in the mechanical conference, I have a few things for you." Shiyu's idea was that 11's full-level deterrence, Buggy's full-level psychic, Kai Tong's full-level possession, and other skills were very common. When the time came, he could condense a memory water drop and give some to his senior to strengthen her battle power. After all, Lu Qingyi had indeed given him a lot of help in the early stages. In fact, without Senior Lu's invitation, he would have missed baby Ginseng, Kai Tong, and a series of pets. Machinery conference, Lu Qingyi was stunned. By the way, we still have to see the mechanical conference. There's nothing to see. When the time comes, I'll go to Ancient Capital University to see the real thing. Breaking through to the legendary level is more important. Shiyu said. All right. Lu Qingyi smiled and said, I hope I can gain something in 8 months. Yeah, Senior, I'll take you to see the Space Emperor ruins first. After Shiyu handed the Void Keystone to Lu Qingyi, he immediately brought her into the Space Emperor ruins to take a look at the small courtyard he had built. Lu Qingyi was quite satisfied with this new cultivation place. She couldn't guarantee that she could break through, but it was definitely more likely than cultivating elsewhere. After arranging it for Senior Lu, Shiyu began to head to Star Capital. This was the venue of the mechanical conference and also the technological capital of Donghuang. Star Capital University was even known as the #1 mechanical specialization in Donghuang. Although they couldn't recruit a genius like Jiao Xian a few years ago, many big shots of the 4th Bureau, such as legend Xiao Shuang, had graduated from here. The mechanic class of Ancient Capital University had long arrived a few days earlier than Shi Yu. Principal Feng, Dean Hao, Grandma Li, and the relevant people were already in Star Capital. At the same time, Professor Fang and his wife also brought their daughter, Fang Lan, to Star Capital to be spectators of the mechanical conference. These people who knew some inside information in advance were looking forward to the mechanical conference. Mechanical Phantom Beast, Tyrant Dragon reincarnated. The ancient dinosaurs that were extinct in the Totem era were revived and even successfully inherited some lost skills. If this wasn't an epoch-making discovery, what was? At this year's mechanical conference, Ancient Capital University would definitely be the most handsome. Chapter 525, Master Ji, Stop Scratching. Chapter 525, Master Ji, Stop Scratching. He's finally here. Star Capital Technology Garden. At the Mechanical Garden of Ancient Capital University. When Shi Yu arrived, Principal Feng and the others couldn't wait to welcome him. Sorry for the wait. Shi Yu said to Principal Feng, Dean Hao, Grandma Li, and the others who came out to welcome him. We've waited so long. Dean Hao of the Mechanical College of Ancient Capital University said eagerly. This year, his mood was like taking a train. First, Shi Yu won the National League. The education funds of Ancient Capital University increased greatly. The Mechanical College was also a pie that he took a slice of. He was very happy. But then, Principal Feng informed him that apart from the basic expenses, all the research funds of the Mechanical College this year were given to Shi Yu to use. It directly made Dean Hao's heart skip a beat, not understanding what was going on. In the end, when Principal Feng showed Dean Hao the information on the Mechanical Phantom Beast, the old top-notch mechanical master was stunned. It felt very ridiculous. After his worldview shattered and recombined, he wished he could run to the ruins of Kong Capital to be Shi Yu's assistant. Unfortunately, Shi Yu didn't want any assistance. He only wanted mechanical materials, making old Hao anxious. He didn't understand what was going on with Shi Yu. Didn't Shi Yu know that he had just contracted the 100 transformations machine? He was clearly a newbie mechanic, so why did he suddenly create such an awesome thing? It didn't make sense. In fact, Shi Yu wasn't that heartless to reject Dean Hao. It was mainly because he felt that Dean Hao's level was too low and might delay his research progress. The heartless one was Ling. In short, it was not until he chatted with Principal Feng and Dr. Li that Dean Hao realized that Shi Yu had had this plan for a long time. A long time ago, Shi Yu had the idea of reviving ancient creatures because of the illusory phantom skill and the experience of entering the dream of the tyrant dragon fossil. As Shi Yu discovered the tool that contained the strongest talent of the mechanic class, Awakening, this idea completely matured. Apart from Lu Qingyi and Whitebrook, they also told Principal Feng, Grandma Li, and the others about Shi Yu's archaeological discovery of the Awakening Mirror. They were so envious. Why was this kid so lucky? This made them very emotional. They were also members of Bureau 11, but there was undoubtedly a difference between people. His listening talent was indeed powerful, but the other members of Bureau 11 weren't as powerful as Shi Yu. Lu Qingyi cracking part of the mythical ruins and her pet obtaining the mythical inheritance was already an extremely good harvest in Bureau 11. However, for Shi Yu, be it the Mu Huiyin inheritance, the Emperor Wu inheritance, the secret of the Great Empress, the Space Emperor inheritance, the huge gains from the Blue Sea ruins in Dragon Palace City, or the Yu Maiden tool, it was not inferior at all. The benefits Shi Yu obtained from the ruins and archaeology were simply too ridiculous. They estimated that only the Dragon Emperor, who had directly obtained the ownership of the mythical ruins in history, could compare to Shi Yu in terms of opportunities. How's the progress? Grandma Li asked. Everything is smooth. Apart from the tyrant dragon, there will also be a few extinct species displayed as mechanical phantom beasts with it, Shi Yu said. Thank you for your fossil. Sure, just take a few more fruits next time. Grandma Li smiled and chased him away. She was talking about the time fruit. This was given to Grandma Li by Shiyu not long ago. After all, without her, he wouldn't have been able to contract the ginseng baby. In fact, Grandma Li was also very emotional about the mutated ginseng baby. It could actually be cultivated by Shiyu to this extent and actually become an existence that could kill 2 overlords after evolution. As expected, it wasn't given wrongly. Fortunately, she didn't use it herself and instead gave it to Shiyu to nurture. Otherwise, she would have lost out. Time fruit, the representative skill of Emperor Shi's pet. Grandma Li guessed that if Shiyu's iron-eating beast had obtained the inheritance from Emperor Wu, then baby ginseng must have obtained the time element inheritance from Mu Huayan's heroic spirit or the totem ice dragon under Emperor Shi. Shiyu was really lucky. All his archaeological results could be used to strengthen himself. Grandma Li's judgment was right. Baby ginseng's mutation had indeed absorbed a lot of time power in the ice dragon ruins. Don't worry, leave the mechanical conference to me. When the time comes, I'll definitely surprise the seniors, Shiyu confirmed. I'm going to prepare for the battle now. Battle? Principal Feng and the others, who were just about to ask Shiyu more detailed questions, were stunned. What battle? Weren't you here to participate in the mechanical conference? Why was it related to battle again? When I came from Kong Capital, I bumped into Ji Feng and arranged a 1vs1 battle with him. It's in Star Capital. I want to prepare for battle first. Everyone was stunned. F*CK, this guy didn't stop even when he came to participate in the mechanical conference. Shouldn't he be preparing for the mechanical conference now? What the hell was this battle with Ji Feng? No choice, no choice. Why don't we come and watch the battle tomorrow? In any case, the mechanical conference is the day after tomorrow. There's no hurry. It was enough for Ling to prepare for the mechanical conference himself. Everyone. Shiyu indeed wanted to prepare for battle. Pre-battle preparations were still very important. 11 had just finished its special training and wasn't in a good state. It definitely had to adjust. How could the battle power that could be displayed be the same as accumulating enough energy to fight? Apart from that, 11 also needed to accumulate bin bears in advance before the battle. In the Battle of the Beast-Taming Domain, there was no rule that didn't allow pets to stack their buffs and states before the battle. Chapter 526, Master Ji, Stop Scratching, 2. Chapter 526, Master Ji, Stop Scratching, 2. However, generally speaking, many self-strengthening skills consumed a lot of energy and couldn't be used for a long time, so very few pets would enter an explosive state in advance. For example, Kai Tong's Milliard Sword Convergence, 11 Sharp Eruption, and Giant Transformation were all strengthening buffs, but they were not suitable to enter in advance because it was meaningless. It would only waste more stamina. However, there were some skills that could be used in advance. Not only would it not increase the consumption, but it would also reduce the consumption. Shiyu had seen Ji Feng's battle. His elemental lord could accumulate reserve elemental energy in his body in advance and directly use it in battle. It was similar to 11's inner power and Susu's infinite devour space. This was the kind of advanced strengthening that followed the rules. As for 11, apart from the source of its restrained physical strength, it also had a similar skill, which was to condense beings into soldiers. It could spend its physical strength to create the greatest number of bin bears before the battle and carry them on its body. Then, it could slowly recover its full physical strength. At that time, in the battle, it could directly send the condensed bin bears to battle without needing to spend huge physical strength to condense them on the spot. This was the true use of bin soldiers. Kai Tong's scapegoat and baby ginseng's time mark were the same. Ji Feng definitely wouldn't let go of the idea of filling up the backup energy before the battle. Shiyu naturally had to be sufficiently prepared. A moment later. In the ruined space, the round 11 sat on the ground. As it ate, black beans condensed and stuck to its body like little magnets, fully armed. It wasn't night yet, and a total of 30 bin bears were temporarily born in the form of beans. 11 inscripted them all over their bodies. The next day, Star Capital Arena. As the largest arena in Star Capital, this place was directly cleared by the president of the Star Capital Association today. The reason was very simple. He had received G-Phone's application. Sequence 7 G-Phone wanted to have a 1 vs 1 battle with Sequence 5 Shiyu in the Star Capital Arena. This was an impressive matter. The association headquarters had long issued instructions that every battle in the top 10 of the sequence required the high cooperation of the associations everywhere. Even Director Xiong of the sequence competition committee rushed to Star Capital overnight, wanting to witness this battle with his own eyes. Elder Xiong, you're here. Little Ma, long time no see. In the Star Capital Arena, Director Xiong, one of the people in charge of the sequence competition committee, met President Ma of the Star Capital Association and started chatting. I finally caught another battle with Shiyu, Director Xiong sighed. During the Minghua competition, he had judged that the iron-eating beast's full strength was very terrifying. However, who would have thought that he would actually directly defeat the Space Emperor's pet later and take off, vaguely becoming the strongest monarch in the country? After that, although Shiyu's ranking had gone up, Director Xiong, who had never seen the battle with his own eyes, had always wanted to see Shiyu fight with all his might. Now, G-Phone challenging Shiyu was a very good opportunity. Ha ha ha, I've long heard of G-Phone and Shiyu's reputation as geniuses. I can finally watch their battle this time. President Ma also sighed with emotion. G-Phone's grandfather was a legendary beast tamer. He had perfectly inherited Old Master Ji's all things affinity talent and was very strong. As for Shiyu, President Ma had seen his city's Star Capital University being beaten up by Shiyu, so he was not unfamiliar with it. They're all here. Apart from Director Xiong, President Ma, Principal Feng, Grandma Li, and the others couldn't help but watch the commotion. After hearing yesterday, they also came to the scene today. Regarding this, apart from warmly welcoming them, Director Xiong and President Ma didn't seem to have any other choice. There were only so many spectators. There weren't many. The battles in the top 10 of the sequence weren't suitable for large-scale public battles. After all, as a human country, many totem clans wanted to obtain various information about contestants from Dong Huang. The first lesson of the battle departments of the various universities was this: no matter when, it was best to have a trump card that no one knew about. Soon, the time Shiyu and G-Phone had agreed on arrived. The two of them each took some battle materials from the staff, such as supplements to replenish their stamina and medicine to recover from their injuries. Then, they entered the arena from both sides. On the left, G-Phone was wearing a brocade robe and had long hair. He didn't look like a modern person, but this was normal. After being a spy in the totem country for many years, he might not have changed his habits. On the right, Shiyu was wearing his daily panda suit. Because Susu had become stronger too quickly, the previous level 6 flame demon armor had almost burned up and couldn't be used anymore. As for battle suits above level 7, it was impossible to find one that was so suitable for the time being. Shiyu planned to customize one later. Now, there was no need to possess him to fight anyway, so he wore casual clothes to make do. After the two of them stepped onto the arena, they nodded at each other. Let me see how strong that iron-eating beast is, G-Phone said. To be honest, he had been undercover in the totem country for so long and had seen many hundred-year-old monarchs. In the totem country, monarch-level ferocious beasts were generally stronger than the wild beast monarch ferocious beasts in Dong Huang. But even so, the Void Mantis was definitely the strongest monarch he had ever seen. It was even stronger than some overlords. In this situation, he still didn't understand how Shiyu defeated the other party. Chapter 527, Master G, Stop Scratching, 3. Chapter 527, Master G, Stop Scratching, 3. Let's do our best, Shiyu said seriously. In a one-on-one situation, Senior Lu might not necessarily be able to defeat G-Phone. This was because the consumption of a beast tamer with enhanced talent to strengthen a specific pet was definitely different from strengthening the entire team's pets. In order to make his current ranking live up to its name, and in order to reduce the number of challengers next, Shiyu felt that it was indeed necessary to fight G-Phone. It was mainly because he had too few battle results. As long as Jifeng lost to him, then there was no reason for others to skip Jifeng to challenge him. He could relax even more. Apart from that, if he stabilized the top 5, it might be easier to get legendary resources. Shi Yu only accepted Jifeng's challenge with this thought. At this moment, the battle that was about to begin attracted the attention of everyone. Director Zhong, President Ma, Principal Feng, and the others couldn't wait anymore. Boom! As Shi Yu and Jifeng summoned their pets together, the battle instantly began. Little Zhong, record. Director Zhong of the Sequence Competition Committee said to the bespectacled recorder beside him. Elemental Lord. Purple light flashed. With a boom, natural energy surged in the arena, and the sky changed. Fire, wind, and light. The body was made of red, green, and gold. A human-shaped elemental creature more than 2 meters tall descended into the arena in the purple summoning array. An illusory figure, an empty gaze, and powerful fluctuations. Mid-level overlord race, monarch level, elemental lord. Nature's favorite. As expected, Jifeng sent out his trump card. Many big shots' eyes flickered. On Shi Yu's side, there was the same purple summoning array. This kid. Director Zhong and the others had rich expressions. Shi Yu broke through to level 6? So fast? It looked like the Space Emperor ruins was indeed a good place to cultivate. Under the purple light, 11 was also summoned amidst the blue and purple lightning. 11, who was in a restrained state with black and white interweaving, shook its hair. Its blue eyes that contained lightning were bright as it looked at the enemy calmly in the chaotic elemental fluctuations. Woo! The 1-meter-tall little iron-eating beast stared at the big guy opposite it carefully. Jifeng also looked at the purple array and the iron-eating beast in front of him solemnly. Elemental Lord versus iron-eating beast. Seeing this, Director Zhong and the others took a deep breath. This was what they wanted to see. As the two parties were in the confrontation stage, the few big shots surrounding them quickly analyzed. Elemental Lord, basic energy value 5,770,000. Although the energy value of the Elemental Lord isn't high, its cultivation level of natural power is very high. In addition to Jifeng's All Things Affinity talent, it can ensure that the power of every attack is not inferior to an Overlord's attack, but the consumption won't be very high. Jifeng lost to the Void Mantis largely because of the other party's Antidemon domain. In addition, the natural energy in the ruins is thin, so he can't perfectly display the greatest effect of the All Things Affinity talent. After a pet broke through from the Monarch level to the Overlord level, its body would be reborn again. Its body and mind would be extremely sensitive to natural energy, and it could feel the clear elemental power with its eyes closed. A fire element overlord level ferocious beast might only use 100 energy points to condense an ordinary small fireball, but under its powerful natural control, this small fireball might instantly be mobilized during the attack. The hot elements from nature and the sun would become a fatal fireball that could easily kill monarchs. This was the use of natural power. Using the smallest price to increase the power of the skill to the strongest. Using the natural power of heaven and earth to attack. Therefore, its energy level was no longer the first reference for Overlord-level creatures. Because an ordinary skill that used 100 energy points to display a normal skill might display incomparable terrifying power under the enhancement of natural power, or even change nature. The reason why Jifeng was so strong was that his All Things Affinity talent could increase the pet's affinity and control over natural power to achieve a similar effect. Therefore, one would definitely lose if he was deceived by the low 5 million energy points of this pet. Even Shi Yu's current pets. Even if some skills involving the power of nature were trained to the maximum proficiency, their affinity control over the power of nature was still inferior to Jifeng's pets. After all, they didn't have the support of talent. However, after they broke through to the Overlord level, their life level increased, and their bodies and nature became one. They would have the backing of max-level natural skill proficiency. Their control over natural power wouldn't be bad, and they would be very strong. In a battle outside, Ji-Feng's strength can be displayed to the maximum. After Director Xiong finished speaking, he looked at the iron-eating beast and was shocked. Energy value, 7.5 million. Ridiculous! Everyone present knew that the 9-Li battle beast was divided into a restrained state to accumulate energy, a normal state to strengthen the physique, and an overload energy enhancement state to erupt with sharpness. The restrained state was the iron-eating beast form. This form was the weakest form of the iron-eating beast. Why did even this form have 7.5 million energy points? You've already used that legendary magnetic gold, right? Principal Feng said. I wonder what the outcome will be if the power of nature versus sharpness erupts. Chapter 528, Master Ji, Stop Scratching, 4. Chapter 528, Master Ji, Stop Scratching, 4. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Everyone focused their attention on this battle. Wind-burning light blade. At the start of the battle, Ji-Feng let the Elemental Lord use the unique skills of the wind, fire, and light elements to attack the iron-eating beast. In the next moment, the elemental blades wrapped in whirlwinds, flames, and flashes quickly condensed in the Elemental Lord's hand. At the same time, under Ji-Feng's slightly closed gaze, the dark world was filled with endless light. The light from the sun, the high temperature, and the wind elemental power from the air suddenly gathered towards the already terrifying wind-burning light blade in the Elemental Lord's hand. Buzz! In an instant, it was as if an elemental tide had occurred in the outside world. Natural energy gathered in this skill, causing the Elemental Lord's body to emit terrifying energy fluctuations. Seeing this, the gazes of the audience froze. It was indeed an Overlord-level power. At this moment, it wasn't like Shi and 11 didn't react at all when facing the other party's imminent attack. 11 raised its head slightly. Although it had mastered the lightning rod, that thing's mobilization of natural power was completely inferior to the other party, so it wasn't eye-catching. Boom! After raising his head slightly, 11 let out a roar and its aura erupted. Dao Proficiency, King's Might. Its small body erupted with a powerful aura. With a crack, the sound of space shattering sounded. In an instant, the natural energy gathered in the arena seemed to have seen a real Elemental Lord. It quickly dispersed like a wave in all directions and fell to shiver. A powerful deterrent skill could completely make the rain clouds disappear with a thought and calm storms. It was already to the point where nature could give it face. Although he didn't have the aptitude to learn the Antidemon domain, 11 could still suppress the other party's natural power to a certain extent through deterrence. At this moment, the gaze of the Elemental Lord opposite froze. Its mental waves and beating heart thumped as it felt the terrifying pressure from this iron-eating beast. With a boom, under the collision of the incomparable elemental tide and deterrence wave, it was as if space collided and squeezed each other. The entire venue was wrapped in a huge aura confrontation. Swoosh! At this moment, the Elemental Lord had already condensed the less perfect but still terrifying wind-burning light blade. As for 11, during the deterrence process, the hardening substance naturally covered a large area of the ground through physical contact. A hardening domain 10 meters in diameter quietly formed, and the ground was pitch black. Right on the heels of that, the Elemental Lord held an elemental blade. The elements turned into a flash and attacked 11 at an extremely fast speed. It slashed over fiercely like a knight holding a long sword. Through its supervision, 11 could still see the other party's movements clearly. In the face of an attack that was difficult for others to see with the naked eye, it crossed its arms calmly and golden light flickered on its body. At the same time, on the hardening domain under its feet, the 30 bean bears that had hatched from the hardening domain immediately appeared behind 11. When they were born and grew up, they were just like 11, their bodies flickering with white gold light. Army skill, impregnable. Woo 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 woo, among the 30 cries, 30 bin bears appeared. At this moment, the bin bears had actually been reborn. Under the combination of the expert-leveled Bin Soldier and the transcendent-level clone, the growth level of the Bin Bears had long reached the Monarch level. At this moment, every Bin Bear had 1,000,000 energy points, comparable to ordinary Monarch-level ferocious beasts. With 30 of them added together, the energy value was 30 million. If it weren't for the fact that these bin bears had been saved in advance, 11 wouldn't have been able to release so many bin bears in a normal battle. What was even more terrifying was that although the expert-level bin bears still couldn't inherit super skills, they had already unlocked the proficiency of low-level skills to perfection. In other words, at this moment, every bin bear with 1 million energy points had a transcendent impregnable skill to use. Right on the heels of that, a scene appeared. With 11's Dao-level impregnable as the core, the 30 Monarch-level bin bears spread out and superimposed 30 instances of impregnable. These 31 instances impregnable were under the special resonance effect of the army skill, and an extremely dazzling power erupted. In the crowd, in the arena, the platinum light on the 31 iron-eating beasts turned into a huge golden domain that enveloped them. Boom! The metal domain was like a huge illusory city. It was unbreakable and shot out a shocking light. The golden flames were incomparably dazzling. Panda King 11 stood in front with its arms crossed in front of its chest, leisurely. The 30 bin bears army behind it was also growing. They crossed their arms in front of their chests, their eyes filled with an invincible aura. In an instant, the Elemental Lord, who had turned into an element and was holding a super skill strengthened by the power of nature, collided the wind-burning light blade with impregnable. Then, an unbelievable scene appeared. There was a boom. The wind-burning light blade slashed at impregnable, like an egg hitting a rock. The wind-burning light blade directly exploded, and impregnable only shook violently for a moment before quickly recovering its calm. It looked unscathed. Boom! Under the violent elemental eruption, the Elemental Lord was suddenly repelled. It looked at the iron-eating beast army that appeared in front of it in surprise. Chapter 529, Master G, Stop Scratching, 5. Chapter 529, Master G, Stop Scratching, 5. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. On the other hand, G-Feng's expression suddenly changed as he looked at the golden domain in front of him solemnly. Elemental Street. However, with the huge amount of energy stored in its body, the Elemental Lord had almost unlimited energy. It was completely fine to continue fighting for at least a few hours. Boom! As G-Feng continued to make choices, the Elemental Lord began to create elemental clones one after another. These elemental clones all rushed towards 11 and the others and launched self-destruction attacks. On the other side, Shiyu saw through the other party's thoughts and said, "Senior G, your pet isn't the only one with backup energy." Elemental Lord clones rushed over one after another and exploded in front of 11, the bin bear, and the others, causing an incomparable explosion. Under the eruption of energy, 11 and the others ignored it and were about to counterattack. Every bin bear had mastered the storage lightning skill. The energy in their bodies could be converted into electricity and transmitted to their main bodies. In other words, every accumulated bin bear was a backup energy source. The iron-eating beast army stood on the hardening domain, and endless electric currents flowed into 11's body in the center. At the same time, its body suddenly enlarged and expanded. During this process, its entire body flickered with light and directly entered the extreme explosive state of overload strengthening energy. On the other side, G-Feng and the Elemental Lord's expressions froze. Roar! Surrounded by many bin bears, 11 only enlarged to nearly 10 meters before stopping. However, its rising energy didn't stop. The power accumulated in his body, in addition to the power transmitted by the bin bear, and with the help of the sharpness skill, 11 forcefully raised his extreme energy to 30 million. In this state, no matter how strong 11's physique was, it instantly exceeded the load. But it didn't matter. With the undying golden body maintaining it, it would be fine since it was just one hit. It could even be said that their cooperation was unstoppable. It was not a problem for them to erupt with 2 more rounds. 11, who was in the 9 Li state, directly hit the Elemental Lord from afar. Boom! Lightning filled the sky. A lightning palm that was dozens of meters long and wide instantly formed. The power of the palm was overwhelming, as if it could suppress everything. Giant transformation plus thunder palm plus deterrence. Under an even more terrifying deterrence, the natural power of heaven and earth suddenly dissipated. Space seemed to have frozen. Under the powerful thunder palm, the pupils of the elemental lord opposite constricted, and it revealed an incredulous expression. Master, this thing was as uncomfortable as F*King fighting a void mantis. It wanted to mobilize the power of nature, but it discovered that the power of nature had already scattered under the deterrence. With its control over the elements, it was not enough to exceed the control of the deterrence at this moment. Chapter 530, Master G, Stop Scratching, 6. Chapter 530, Master G, Stop Scratching, 6. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. So annoying. At the same time, the deterrence on the thunder palm also shocked the elemental lord. What did it have to do with him? G-Feng, who was UCE 5th G-Feng, actually couldn't even break through the other party's defense when facing Shiyu. The trump card pet was even less of a match for the other party's one hit. This, Director Zhong was stunned, and the recorder beside him was also stunned. The last time G-Feng lost so badly, it seemed to be when he found a legendary beast tamer to challenge. Is this kid a monster? He turned that legendary resource into strength so quickly? Principal Feng was also extremely shocked. This speed of becoming stronger was too fast. Lu Qingyi had clearly told him previously that 11, who didn't use the power of the demon god, was about the same strength as the wind demon lion, but from the looks of it, that wasn't the case. At the same time, in the arena, G-Feng's expression instantly darkened. He suddenly recalled the power of the demon god that Shiyu had mentioned in the Space Emperor ruins. During the battle just now, Shiyu and the others didn't seem to have used it. Thank you for the match. Facing the opponent whose face darkened, Shiyu smiled. This smile made Director Zhong, President Ma, and the others instantly fall silent. The officials had never acknowledged the title of the #1 person below the legend of Dong Huang, but now, why did they feel that this title was so true to its name? That day, the Sequence Battle Committee announced the results of the challenge. In various places in Dong Huang, the members of the Sequence Battle looked at the latest news on the Sequence website in silence. Sequence 7 G-Feng challenged Sequence 5 Shiyu, and G-Feng lost. If it was said that without the battle results of the contestants to prove Shiyu's identity as 5th in the sequence, some people still had a wait-and-see attitude, then now, many people were silent. The original 5th in the sequence had lost to Lu Qingyi and Shiyu, the two students from ancient capital university. Lu Qingyi was alright, about the same age as G-Feng, but Shiyu was clearly ridiculous at the age of 20. There was a heated discussion on the internet. Jiao Xian, Zhu Yun, and the others were silently browsing the news. Below was the place where a group of beast tamers were discussing. Iron-eating beast warrior, invincible, invincible. Is there a problem with calling him the #1 person below the legendary level this time? Lu Qingyi and Shiyu are both from ancient capital university. They definitely fought before. Their ranking hasn't changed, which means that Shiyu is stronger. Bug-catching boy, Big Boss Shiyu is the #1 in the world. He's proficient in battle, archaeology, and feeding. He's too awesome. Is there anything Big Boss Shiyu doesn't know? I'm not Buggy, replied, probably not. Even if not now, there will probably be in the future. With such an outstanding group of pets, I'll even believe that Shiyu developed a new mechanical school tomorrow. Seeing this, Jiao Xian frowned. He felt that the current netizens were more or less a little sick. Mechanics were the foundation of Dong Huang and the 7 countries. If a totem battle really happened, they still had to rely on the mechanical army. Did these people really think that mechanics were that easy? He directly clicked on this "I'm not Buggy," suppressed his mood to argue with him along the internet, and directly blocked him. Chapter 531, The Eve of the Mechanical Conference, 1. Chapter 531, The Eve of the Mechanical Conference, 1. Shiyu stabilized his ranking by fighting the 7th rank G-Feng. Regarding this, there was a heated discussion on the internet. In Shiyu's room in the ancient capital technology garden, Buggy browsed through the comments. After casually sending a few messages with its account, "I'm not Buggy," it happily went offline. Woo tilde. Buggy's eyes flickered. Stupid mortals, wait for tomorrow to see the mechanical phantom it created. Although it was definitely the beast tamer who went to show off again, as long as the audience wasn't stupid, they could judge and analyze that this phantom should be related to it. Mechanical phantom beasts, illusions, weren't they? It's Worm's imagination, illusions. Master, a mole has been discovered. At the side, Ling immediately detected Buggy's message on the internet and reported to Shiyu. Woo! Buggy turned to look at Ling. How could it defame Buggy for nothing? MI. Let's do something serious. Kai Tong, who was watching the movie with Susu, also looked at Buggy. It waited for Lost History 001, Legend of Mu Huiyin 3 until the flowers withered. This preview was already filmed. Hurry up and edit it and upload it. Woo! Leave it to Ling. Buggy was bold and confident. It was already in charge of scenes and special effects. How could they let it edit? In this aspect, Ling should be a professional. Ning. Susu was anxious. It told the pets to be quiet and not disturb its movie. It was anxious to watch this environmental-related movie. It wished it could transmigrate and cleanse everything. MI? Kai Tong poked Susu. This didn't look good. They should watch some battle shows. Susu shook its head fiercely. It would talk about it after it finished watching these environmental movies. It held a small notebook and recorded what it saw. The mechanic class is a big source of pollution to the ocean environment. It will remember this. At the same time, 7 Islands. Bad guy. Because Dong Huang and Dragon Palace City were on good terms and valued the ocean environment, most of Dong Huang's environmental protection movies portrayed the 7 Islands next door as villains, directly making Susu anxious. It asked Shiyu telepathically when they were going to the 7 Islands to fight. Especially after learning that the Rainbow Sea was polluted by the forbidden weapons of the 7 Islands, Susu directly bore a grudge plus 10086 and wanted to talk to the legendary Valkyrie of the 7 Islands. Don't worry about Buggy, Shiyu, who was lying on the bed, said casually with his cell phone. Ling, help edit the footage. By the way, give Ice Dragon more shots and let Ice Dragon's image be more positive and stronger. It has to be Mu Huiyin's greatest support. Well, let Ice Dragon be the protagonist this time. Kai Tong? It can't be helped. This is what Mother Dragon requested herself. She wants our video to publicize its powerful heroic bearing. Although it's a little like tampering with history, when we go to the 7 Islands, we still have to find Mother Dragon to be our bodyguard. Susu, moo. Yay! Water flooded the 7 Islands. Ice could seal the 7 Islands. Kai Tong QAQ, but shouldn't the female lead be it? You'll suffer a small loss and do something big. When the time comes, let Mother Dragon kill 2 more Overlord Undead for you. It'll definitely be a good deal. Kai Tong. Ling hesitated for a moment. Legend of Mu Huiyin 3, it was time to talk about Mu Huiyin suppressing the Ice River Totem with the Ice Dragon in her later years. It was also the last part of the preview trilogy. The first video made a name for itself and laid the foundation. The second video promoted Ancient Capital University and the heroic ruins. The third video was to promote the history of the Ice Dragon Snow Mountain and the Icefield, making Icefield City a tourist holy land. It would lead the iron-eating beast industry and lick the Ice Dragon at the same time. Master was scheming. Then leave it to me. Ling sighed. I'll leave it to you tilde. Shiyu continued to lie down and search with the cell phone index. After fighting G-Phone, Shiyu slipped away. Because at that time, both Director Xiong and Principal Phone wanted to talk to Shiyu in detail and figure out Shiyu's current battle power. Even G-Phone himself wanted to communicate more with Shiyu after losing to understand the true difference between him and Shiyu. Regarding this, Shiyu, who found it troublesome, naturally couldn't give in. Moreover, if he communicated with them in depth now, in less than 2 days, 11 and the others would be added with more points. wouldn't their battle power be updated again? Therefore, it was meaningless and a pure waste of time. He directly slipped back with the excuse of preparing for the mechanical conference. However, this made Director Zhong, President Ma, and Ji Feng even more stunned. Mechanical conference? What mechanical conference? What did the mechanical conference have to do with him? After returning, Shiyu naturally didn't prepare for any meeting. Instead, he continued to slack off. At the same time, he also called his pets to slack off together. The special training in the Space Emperor ruins was already bitter enough. It was understandable for him to slack off for the next few days. Although Shiyu had called his pets to slack off together, every pet's response was different. Kai Tong and Buggy completed the last trailer of Mu Huayin's legend. On the other hand, Susu was obsessed with environmental movies under Kai Tong's recommendation. As for 11, it originally wanted to roll it up. However, the recent high-intensity battles and the additional points of super skills had indeed made 11 tired both physically and mentally. Therefore, it chose to slack off and squeeze the Bin Bears to train the army drills as a form of relaxation. The training of the Bin Bear could also increase its strength. It was training and lazing around. The world where the clones were injured appeared again. Chapter 532, The Eve of the Mechanical Conference, 2. Chapter 532, The Eve of the Mechanical Conference, 2. As for baby Ginseng, it was really resting. It lay there and condensed the time mark. Of course, although he was lazing around, Shiyu wasn't really lazing around. He was thinking about 11's new evolution form. Although now that he had the spirit accumulation jade given by his senior, the power of the demon god was no longer a one-time consumable, it would probably take a long time for it to be large enough to support 11's evolution. At least before the World Tournament, there was definitely not much hope, because the strengthening speed of the spirit accumulation jade was not very fast. In 8 months, it would at most replenish the power of the demon god that 11 had consumed previously. It would probably take at least 8 to 10 years to accumulate enough to evolve. Therefore, Shiyu was looking for skills or materials that could assist the power of the demon god to help 11 evolve. At the moment, Shiyu had another goal. It was to let 11, Buggy, Baby Ginseng, Kai Tong, Susu, and Ling evolve another round before the world competition. They would cooperate with legendary resources to break through to Overlord. On Ling's side, it must have evolved around the form of the Super Mecha and the Wind Kirin fossil. Ling could worry about this itself. It only needed to find the materials. As for Susu, if it broke through to the Overlord level, it could receive the inheritance of the Blue Sea ruins. It was equivalent to evolution. Kai Tong and Buggy's Spirit Release and Dragon of Imagination skill proficiency had reached perfect level, which was equivalent to a different evolution. They just had to add points. Therefore, the focus that needed to be paid more attention to was 11 and Baby Ginseng. Among them, Baby Ginseng had a mutation. With its current race, the suitable legendary, mythical, and resources that contained a certain amount of mutation power had a chance of being optimized again on the current Undying Ginseng race. Shiyu planned to start with Light and Earth. As for 11, it might be the most difficult to evolve again, because its current race was the strongest in the team. The difficulty of evolution was obvious. However, Shiyu already had some thoughts. The Aurora magnetic gold sent by Principal Feng had a chance to allow 11 to awaken White Thunder. This was lightning that contained the nature of light, or it could also be called Light Thunder. As for the power of the demon god of the meteorite fragment, after it was absorbed by the hardening substance that contained lightning, it could give birth to the black lightning of the dark element demon god nature. It could also be called the Dark Lightning. This was the embodiment of the power of the demon god in 11. The black and white lightning was indeed as Principal Feng had said. They were two conflicting attributes, so he felt that it was normal for 11, who had a certain level of affinity for the dark element, to not have much hope of learning the white lightning. However, conflicting powers. This word suddenly reminded Shiyu of Kai Tong's interlocking sword. Who said that conflicting powers couldn't be used together? Not only could it be done, but it could also be stronger. Light and darkness intertwined, not inferior to fire and water. If 11 could master the light and darkness interlocking lightning and evolve with it, its strength would definitely be stronger. At that time, under the lightning armor of the yin-yang divine thunder, the overload brought by the intersection of attributes would definitely be super explosive. Coupled with the undying golden body and impregnable, it would definitely be invincible. Therefore, Shiyu needed a thunder element evolution skill that could perfectly fuse the black and white lightning. He searched, but couldn't find it. However, Shiyu did find a metal element evolution skill. Name: Super Alloy. Attributes: Machinery, Metal. Level: Super Level. Introduction: It can synthesize the power of different metals and complete super evolution. The success rate of evolution depends on skill proficiency, metal compatibility, and one's endurance of new alloys. Shiyu originally couldn't find this skill because this skill didn't exist in Donghuang. This skill was the racial skill of the mechanical and metal element mechanical pet, the alloy monster. This pet also had the technology to create the alloy monster. Only Shenfeng and the Seven Islands had it. Although this skill wasn't thunder element, if 11 could master it, there was a certain chance of completing the evolution of light and darkness. This was because 11's hardening was also the iron-eating beast's racial evolution skill. At the maximum level, it could already absorb special energy and change its metal nature. As long as 11 entered the form of a demon god through hardening and gave itself the power of a demon god, at the same time, it could use the white thunder to modify part of the hardening substance. Then, it could activate the super alloy skill and let the light thunder hardening and dark thunder hardening fuse. In theory, it could complete the evolution of light and darkness. However, the problem was that Shiyu didn't know if 11 could learn this skill with a mechanic. At the same time, he thought that it was equivalent to gambling. He couldn't be sure of the success rate. After all, who knew if the light and dark metals could be perfectly fused? At the same time, he thought that it was equivalent to gambling. He couldn't be sure of the success rate. After all, who knew if the light and dark metals could be perfectly fused? With this thought in mind, Shiyu organized it and planned to throw it to Ling to analyze. They could study if 11 could learn the superalloy skill of the mechanic class. If there was no chance, there was no need to find a place to replicate the skill. He could only wait until the skill fusion was activated before helping 11 bet on an evolution skill. After that, he would study the success rate of the super golden light dark evolution. If it succeeded, the power of yin-yang interlocking would definitely not be inferior to the power of time. The fusion of light, darkness, yin, and yang was indistinguishable. It was chaos. The 9-Li battle beast directly evolved. The Chaos Panda and the Limitless Panda should be stronger than Emperor Wu's Demon God Panda. That night, the night before the mechanical conference, Shiyu was still lying on the ground when he received an invitation from Principal Feng. Chapter 533, The Eve of the Mechanical Conference, 3. Chapter 533, The Eve of the Mechanical Conference, 3. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. How is it? Why isn't there any movement at all? Why don't you follow us to a banquet first? The banquet of the mechanical conference, the 9 major universities, and dozens of participating representatives of the Mechanical Research Institute who are qualified to participate in the mechanical conference will attend. Oh, all right. Shiyu shook his confused head and touched his stomach. He thought about his food for the past half a month. The last normal meal was when he was in Dragon Palace City. He hadn't eaten anything good in a long time. The mechanical conference banquet shouldn't be bad, right? Then he should go take a look. He turned around and put his pets into the ruined space, leaving his beloved buggy behind. Teleport. Buggy. Star Capital Technology Garden, 7-star hotel. Shiyu followed Principal Feng, Grandma Li, Dean Hao, and the others here. Senior Shiyu, to Shiyu's surprise, just as they entered, a little girl pounced on Shiyu. When she saw Shiyu, she looked excited. Fanglan. Shiyu was immediately speechless when he saw the little girl guarding the door. Principal Feng and the others looked at this youngest member of Bureau 11 and chuckled. Fang Lan's parents were both professors of the mechanic department of Kong University, so it wasn't strange for them to appear here. Senior Shiyu, I've opened up the beast taming space, Fang Lan said excitedly with Shiyu. In addition, I've already finished self-studying the mechanic classes of high school and first and second years. I've also done the test questions. I got full marks for all of them. Grandpa Feng, Grandma Li, Grandpa Hao, she then greeted the others. Ah. Shiyu touched his chin. It was pretty fast. From the looks of it, the memory water drop was very useful. How long had it been? However, when Shiyu looked at Fang Lan's dark eye circles, he kept feeling that this girl was working hard. Healthiness first. It's all right. Fang Lan was not afraid at all. In order to contract the mechanical phantom beast, she directly turned into a time management master. First, she asked her family for spatial cultivation resources, wanting to open up the beast taming space as soon as possible. Then, she took various supplements, such as the refreshing capsule, stayed up late to study and do questions. Her hard work paid off. In just half a month, she completed all the mechanic research topics from first to second year. All right. The corners of Shiyu's mouth twitched. Forget it, I should choose a mechanical phantom beast for this girl after the meeting. Shiyu could understand the anticipation of the other party and even the entire family. After the mechanical conference ended, mechanical phantom beasts were no longer a rare species. A new chapter would begin in Dong Huang's mechanical domain. For this, during this period of time, under Shiyu's suggestion, Grandma Li's people had often mixed in the Dong Huang exchange team and crazily bought ancient fossils from other countries. Little Lan, where are your parents? Principal Feng asked. On the second floor inside. I see. You can bring us over, Principal Feng said with a smile. All right, Tilda. Fang Lan ran over to report her mission progress to Shiyu and immediately said happily. Under Fang Lan's lead, everyone began to walk to the second floor. During this process, Shiyu was surprised to see Xiao Shuang and General Slao Qin on the first floor. The two of them also discovered the new Ancient Capital University team. At the same time, they looked at Shiyu in surprise. Why was Shiyu here? There were still many familiar faces. What was even more surprising was that Shiyu was still on the first floor when he discovered Jiao Xian, who was being interviewed by the official media and was representing Imperial Capital University. Cough, cough, cough. Opposite Jiao Xian, a female reporter and a male photographer were interviewing the youngest contestant of the mechanical conference. At this moment, halfway through the interview, Jiao Xian's gaze was suddenly attracted by Shiyu and the others who passed by not far away. Then, he immediately choked. Jiao Xian widened his eyes and looked at the person who had just passed by. Holy shit, he knew the principal of Ancient Capital University. He also knew Dean Hao of Ancient Capital University's Mechanical College, but why was Shiyu also following beside them? Although Shiyu was a genius figure of Ancient Capital University and represented the students, there was no need to bring Shiyu to an event like the Mechanical Conference, right? Just like how he wouldn't participate in the Feeding Conference and Archaeological Conference, why was Shiyu here? Student Jiao, are you all right? The female reporter saw that Jiao Xian's emotions were suddenly unstable and immediately asked with concern. At the same time, she slowly looked in the direction Jiao Xian was looking at with widened eyes. Then, she saw Shiyu, who was walking and glancing over curiously. The female reporter. When she saw Shiyu, she was immediately shocked. This was because Shiyu was also the person she had always wanted to interview. This was a super hot topic ranked 5th in the sequence. Unfortunately, she had never found an opportunity and couldn't contact him. Why? Why would Shiyu appear at the mechanical conference? Yes, after interviewing Jiao Xian, she would interview Shiyu. She would ask about the situation. Chapter 534, Crossing Worlds, 1. Chapter 534, Crossing Worlds, 1. 7-star hotel. At this moment, there were indeed many celebrities gathered here. Among the hundreds of people, there was no one whose identity was unknown. The team from Ancient Capital University attracted the attention of many people. The reason was very simple. Although the mechanical conference was worth taking seriously, it was very intriguing that the principal of Ancient Capital University had also come with Dean Howe. Generally speaking, if there were no especially big results, the person in charge of the mechanic class of every school in every mechanical conference, plus their own scientific research team, would be enough. The principals of the various schools basically wouldn't follow. At the same time, not only was Principal Fong beside Dean Howe of Ancient Capital University, but there was also someone wearing an iron-eating beast shirt beside him. It was even more ridiculous. Wasn't that the national champion, Sequence 5 Shi Yu? He actually came? Apart from that, the big boss of the fossil field, Dr. Li Lianping, actually came too. And she was with Ancient Capital University. What was going on? Among the group, only Dean Howe was a famous person in the mechanical field. The other three were all from the archaeological world. This crossed from their industry. Many people followed, such as the Xiao sisters, the few official reporters who were let in today, and Jiao Xian, who they had hurriedly ended the interview with. Shi Yu! Legend Xiao Shuang and General Xiao Qin followed Shi Yu and made him stop. Sister Xiao Shuang, Sister Xiao Qin. You're here too. Shi Yu was forced to pretend that he had just seen them and said in surprise. However, he was really a little surprised. Among the two of them, Xiao Shuang was a legendary mechanical genius in the 4th Bureau. It was nothing for her to appear in the mechanical conference. However, shouldn't General Xiao Qin be working for the Marine Environmental Protection Department at this moment? Why was she here? Was she on leave? Why didn't he know? Oh, the Environmental Protection Department had yet to issue missions and formulate rules and regulations. That was fine. The two of them also greeted Principal Fong, Dean Howe, and the others. Then, they answered Shi Yu. Isn't it normal for us to appear here? Legend Xiao Shuang smiled and said, speaking of which, the speed of your sequence ranking increase is really unexpected. Little Qin hasn't entered the top 20 yet, but you've already become the number 1 person below the legendary level. Xiao Qin was speechless at the side. If it weren't for the fact that her trump card had unfortunately sacrificed itself and spent a lot of time recuperating and adjusting, it would have been nothing to enter the top 20. You flatter me. It's just gossip, Shi Yu said with a smile. Is that so? Speaking of which, you should have already contracted or prepared to contract the 100 transformation stone rewarded by the National League, right? In that case, you've already made the decision to step into the mechanical field. Are you here to broaden your horizons this time? Legend Xiao Shuang asked. Recently, she, a legendary mechanic, had also been shocked by Shi Yu's growth speed and various news. When she thought of how such a super genius had previously thought of involving the mechanical field, she was very curious about how far Shi Yu could go. Principal Fong, Grandma Li, Dean Howe, and the others had strange expressions. They had thoughts in their hearts, but they didn't say them. If they said it, they would scare them in the 4th Bureau. How was Shi Yu stepping into the mechanical field? He was clearly here to challenge the mechanical field. He wanted to change the current mechanical field structure. This innovation was probably not much inferior to the technological products created by the respected mechanics in the 4th Bureau. Fang Lan also secretly looked at her former idol, Legend Xiao Shuang. She didn't expect the other party to actually talk to Senior Shi Yu. Although she didn't understand, she could understand that the other party seemed to have misunderstood something about Senior Shi Yu. Yes and no. I'm here to represent Ancient Capital University in the mechanical conference. Shi Yu revealed a hearty smile. Who? As soon as he finished speaking, Legend Xiao Shuang and General Xiao Qin were stunned. Legend Xiao Shuang knew that Shi Yu had never come into contact with the mechanic class before, and General Xiao Qin knew even more. This was because she was in charge of modifying and upgrading the marine base of the Environmental Protection Department. At that time, Shiyu was like a mechanical noob, asking her questions. Was there no one else in the mechanic class of Ancient Capital University? He wanted Shiyu to represent Ancient Capital University in the mechanical conference. What? At the same time, an incredulous voice sounded. A sweet-looking female reporter with shoulder-length hair and a business suit ran over anxiously, as if she had heard some incredible news. I'm very sorry to disturb you. I'm a reporter from Donghuang Radio and Television Station, Bailu. This is my interview certificate for this mechanical conference. After the reporter barged in, she suddenly reacted and immediately carefully introduced his identity to the many big shots present. At the same time, she said, I just heard that student Shiyu, you want to represent Ancient Capital University to participate in this mechanical conference. Is that true? She looked at Shiyu in confusion. Xiao Shuang and Xiao Qin also wanted to know if it was true. What a joke! At this moment, Shiyu's focus was on this reporter. Bailu? What was her relationship with Donghuang Radio and Television Station's colleagues Ji Yu and Han Lu, who were in charge of explaining the National League? They literally all had weather-related names. They've almost gathered all the 24 solar terms. Was it their real or fake names? Yes, Shiyu replied as he complained in his heart. His answer directly confused the Xiao sisters. Behind them, two reporters hurriedly arrived at Imperial Capital University's Jiao Xian on the second floor. They didn't return to Imperial Capital University immediately, but followed over and heard this news that shocked him. Chapter 535, Crossing Worlds, 2. Chapter 535, Crossing Worlds, 2. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Jiao Xian opened his mouth slightly. He wanted to ask what was going on more than anyone present. Before coming to the banquet today, he even believed what a fool said on the internet about Shiyu researching a new mechanical faction tomorrow. Why was reality even more illusory than the internet? Shiyu really came to the Mechanical Innovation Conference? After he arrived, he wasn't in a hurry to interrupt. Instead, he watched silently from the side. This was because this reporter, Bailu, definitely wouldn't disappoint him. She would ask what he wanted to know. As expected, after being shocked, reporter Bailu immediately said, Student Shiyu, can I interview you? It's just a little time, please. Shiyu turned his head to look at Principal Foam and the others, then at Legend Xiao Shuang and the others. He nodded and said, all right, as quickly as possible. According to what I know, isn't your main profession an archaeologist? Although you've also made incomparable achievements in battle, feeding, and other fields, these fields shouldn't be very related to the mechanic class. How did you become a representative of the Ancient Capital University's mechanical conference? Well, to answer that, technology has already integrated into various fields. Archaeology, feeding, and core projects can't do without the support of machines. For example, most archaeologists need detection machines to analyze the year of ancient artifacts. Therefore, as an archaeologist, I know a little machinery. As a beast tamer, it's very normal for me to know a little feeding. As for why I came to participate in the mechanical conference, it's naturally because I accidentally developed some results. Jiao Xian, Xiao Shuang and Xiao Qin. Was this guy sure that the bit of detection machines that analyzed the year of ancient artifacts was the same as the bit of machinery needed to participate in the mechanical conference? Ah. The reporter was speechless. In other words, with you as the core researcher, you developed a technological mechanical product that's enough to represent Ancient Capital University in the mechanical conference, right? May I ask if you can reveal the type of this mechanical product, what field it will be suitable for? For what reason did you cross worlds to develop it? Shiyu pondered for a moment and said, the type? It's pretty wide, right? It's suitable for the battle domain, feeding domain, archaeology domain. Everything is involved a little. As for the goal, Shiyu smiled and said, it must still revolve around archaeology. Bailu's eyes lit up. So, it's a mechanical device that can assist archaeology? In that case, it didn't seem that difficult to understand. However, the youngest contestant of the mechanical conference might have to be changed. Yes. Shiyu was certain that using the power of technology to revive fossils from the dinosaur era of the totem era into mechanical dinosaurs to study ancient times through it was also considered a support archaeological equipment. Beside him, Jiao Xian, who was originally in a rather depressed mood, heaved a sigh of relief. He was wondering why Shiyu would come to participate in the mechanical conference. From Shiyu's resume, it was impossible. He probably used the platform of Ancient Capital University to come up with some machines to assist in archaeology and then come to earn honor. In the previous batches, the research results of the mechanics of Ancient Capital University were also archaeological machines. There was nothing new. Compared to high-end products like Star Capital, Imperial Capital, and Demon Capital University, they were not outstanding. It looked like it was the same for Ancient Capital University this year. In fact, from the situation of pushing Shiyu out, there was completely no one left. At the thought of this, Jiao Xian was relieved. Although he didn't know why he cared so much about Shiyu. Student Shiyu is indeed a genius. Reporter Bai Lu still sighed. No matter what, it was already very impressive to be so omnipotent. At the side, after a pause, Legend Xiao Shuang and General Xiao Qin couldn't help but sigh. Shiyu really liked to cause trouble. An archaeological support machine? Interesting. They wanted to see what would be displayed tomorrow. If it wasn't inferior to the archaeological support machines displayed by the previous batches of Ancient Capital University, it was enough to show that Shiyu also had a certain amount of talent in the mechanic class. This was definitely impressive. A person who displayed talent in many fields at the same time was undoubtedly a monster. At this moment, Principal Feng and the others looked at Legend Xiao Shuang, General Xiao Qin, Reporter Bai Lu, and Jiao Xian, who had calmed down not far away. They muttered in their hearts, feeling that they had misunderstood something. Did they subconsciously ignore that Shiyu said that his research results also involved battle and feeding? In short, everything will be revealed tomorrow. Shiyu smiled and said, "I'm very confident that this is definitely a great invention." Since Shiyu had said so, be it Reporter Bai Lu, Legend Xiao Shuang, or General Xiao Qin, they didn't ask further. In any case, they would know tomorrow. However, looking at Shiyu's smug expression, it looked like Shiyu was really very satisfied with his research results. They thought about it carefully. This was normal. After all, they had crossed over. If there were any results, it was worth being proud of. Jiao Xian left indifferently and didn't mind. It was indeed beyond his understanding that Shiyu could reach sequence 5th. He had already treated Shiyu as the target he needed to surpass the most in battle, but in the field of machinery, he didn't need to care about Shiyu. Chapter 536, Crossing Worlds, 3. Chapter 536, Crossing Worlds, 3. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. At the age of 13, he successfully created a virtual electronic life form himself and used it to hack into the local association's network. Then, in the learning of the Fourth Bureau, he invented dozens of mechanical patents of various sizes. Even the other members of the Fourth Bureau were amazed by his achievements in this field. And this year's mechanical conference, what he brought was a research result that he had studied for a full 3 years. In the future, it was enough to change the structure of the beast-taming domain. In his opinion, if this research result could be popularized, it would not be inferior to the green cocoon system developed by Shiyu at all, or even stronger. It could be said that he was here for the gold award of this year's mechanical conference, which was first place. At that time, with research funds, top-notch mechanical materials, and various investments for him to choose from, he could quickly catch up to Shiyu in battle strength. That night, Shiyu ate very happily at the mechanical conference banquet. He also obtained a few news. For example, at this year's mechanical conference, apart from the Fourth Bureau's judging, there were also 2 legendary mechanics from abroad who came to Donghuang to exchange and learn as judges. It was very grand and would even be broadcasted live on the internet. At the same time, Shiyu didn't notice or care. His interview answer soon became a trending topic. Jiao Xian's interview couldn't even compare to the heat of Shi Yu's interview. The reason was very simple. At this moment, because Shi Yu had just defeated Ji Feng, he steadily sat in the 5th place of the sequence and was in the limelight. Now, there was news that the number 1 person below the legendary level, the super genius of archaeology, feeding, and battle, Shi Yu, had run to participate in the mechanical conference again. Who wouldn't be curious and shocked? Soon, comments about this interview filled the internet. Bug-catching boy, holy shit, what did I say on the last trending topic? Is there anything Big Boss Shi Yu doesn't know? Look, I'm here to participate in the mechanical conference today. Science fatty, it's ridiculous, but he should be here to increase his resume. A machine to assist in archaeology. It's probably still the same as a few years ago at Ancient Capital University, but I feel that there's really no need. God, Shi Yu's experience is already legendary. There's no need to add mechanical achievements. Most of the netizens were very rational. Although they looked forward to what Shi Yu could do at the mechanical conference, their minds were also very clear. Moreover, the machines that studied archaeology had long been studied to death. What innovation could there be? Of course, this didn't stop many people from suddenly paying attention to the mechanical conference that they originally didn't pay much attention to. After all, Shi Yu's name was even more popular than the mechanical conference recently. I'm not buggy, no, it shouldn't be that simple. Look at the content carefully. The types of machines are wide and suitable for battle domains. Feeding domain. The archaeological domain is clearly not simple. In addition, Shi Yu himself said that it was a very great invention. It's completely worth looking forward to. There were also netizens who were very stubborn, such as, I'm not buggy. At this moment, the internet was in an uproar, especially on the forum of the mechanical conference. The hundreds of representatives from the factions who came to participate in the mechanical conference were also watching this interview in silence and fell into deep thought. What the hell? You, an archaeologist, came to the mechanical conference after harming the feeding conference. The next day. Star Capital Technology Garden, National Science and Technology Exhibition Center. The huge venue was full. Thousands of elites and participating teams sat in their seats, looking forward to the start of this event. In the seat of Ancient Capital University, Shi Yu was wearing a white research suit. A green Rubik's Cube floated beside his shoulder. On the Rubik's Cube screen, the virtual sprite Ling opened its eyes curiously. Master, it's about to begin. Can I take a look underground later? Ling said telepathically. Yes. Shi Yu nodded. At the same time, he instructed Ling, you can take a look. But don't have any bold ideas. No way. Ling. The steel venue in the center of the venue was connected to the complicated mechanical equipment in the basement. Next, all the participants would display their works on the steel venue. The support machines and energy needed could be satisfied and cooperated within the mechanical energy room underground, apart from the ones they brought. The judges this time are two legendary mechanics from the 4th Bureau. The president of the Star Capital Association. Apart from that, there's also a legendary mechanic from Shenfeng and a legendary mechanic from the 7 Islands. They will be special guests. Every year, the 9 major universities will display it first. Then, the scientific research teams of the various large financial groups and some local research institutes will display the results. The meeting will last for a few days. Our order is the 8th. The 8th will be displayed and will be done today, Dean Hao said. He wasn't introducing it to Principal Feng, Shi Yu, and the others, but to the few mechanic professors and core students of Ancient Capital University beside him. We all understand the logic, but this time, is our Ancient Capital University really represented by Shi Yu? At this moment, the professors and students were still stunned. Not to mention the others, even those from Ancient Capital University didn't know why the representative of Ancient Capital University for this mechanical conference was Shi Yu. They couldn't think of any mechanical research results from Ancient Capital University that Shi Yu would participate in this year. If he wasn't showing these, in other words, what he was showing was completely developed by Shiyu himself. Let's wait and see, Dean Hao said with a smile. Chapter 537, Crossing Worlds, 4. Chapter 537, Crossing Worlds, 4. It's about to begin. Principal Feng looked at the time and took a deep breath. In theory, it would definitely be his turn today. He looked at Shiyu, who was sitting quietly beside him. Thinking of Shiyu's performance at the feeding conference, he suddenly had more confidence in Shiyu. After the feeding conference, the mechanical conference would definitely be fine. After all, they were all super results that could change the current situation. After today, Ancient Capital University would definitely become famous in Donghuang again. Before the meeting, the judges and guests entered one by one. The first was born in the capital and graduated from Imperial Capital University. At the moment, he was the legendary mechanic Elder Liu, who was in charge of the Forbidden Weapon project at the Donghuang Academy of Science. At the same time, he was also the guide of the genius mechanic Jiao Xin from Imperial Capital University. Then, there was a middle-aged woman with brown hair and a serious expression. She was also the legendary mechanic of the 4th Bureau. Her name was Mai Xiuying, and she was the wife of the legendary Navy General Xiao Hai. She was also the mother of the legendary mechanic Xiao Shuang and the Navy General Xiao Qin. She had made major contributions to the research of sea, land, and air strategic overlord-level machines. The last person was President Ma of the Star Capital Association. He wasn't a legendary mechanic in the traditional sense. However, among the contracted pets, there were also mechanical pets. In a place like Star Capital where mechanical culture was prosperous, his personal style would inevitably be affected. Apart from them, there was also a grey-haired old man from Shenfeng. He was also a legendary mechanic named Chris Aches. The other was a legendary beast tamer from the 7 islands next door, Zhu Qianyao. For special reasons, the two of them came to Donghuang to exchange and learn, and came to the mechanical conference as guests. As the world tournament was imminent, the communication between the 7 countries became more and more frequent. Of course, apart from the legendary big boss on the platform, there were also big bosses in the crowd below. For example, the legendary mechanic Xiao Shuang was sitting in the audience this time to watch the commotion. Under the gaze of countless eyes, the host in charge of presiding over the mechanical conference appeared. He introduced the judges, guests, and the arrangement of the mechanical conference today. Under the cameras of many media and official media, the conference officially began. The first to go on stage was the scientific research results led by Dr. Mo Qing of Star Capital University. Dr. Mo Qing was a top-notch mechanical master in his 50s. He was dedicated to the research field of combination machinery and cultivation, and was also a strong contestant in the industry. After all, to be able to make a name for himself in technological places like Star Capital and Star Capital University, he had to have some skills. Skill training machine? After Dr. Mo Qing went on stage, the white screen lit up, and words appeared on it. The mechanics who were assistants carried a huge nutritional cabin-type machine to the center of the venue and installed it on the spot. At the same time, Dr. Mo Qing chuckled and said, "Everyone should be familiar with skill teaching machines and training machines. The market is filled with various technological skill training machines, and what we brought today is a little different from any kind on the market." Skill training machine. There were actually many types of innovative machines that could be displayed in the mechanical conference. New mechanical pets, new training machines, new mechanical equipment, as long as they were related to machinery. Among them, the skill machine was clearly the more convenient one. Who didn't want their pets to easily learn a few more skills or quickly increase their skill proficiency? This skill machine mainly focuses on a dream training. At the moment, the training machines on the market are more targeted. They are all tailor-made for specific pets and specific skills. Moreover, they need beast tamers and pets to cooperate and use them. During the usage process, although it can more effectively increase the skill proficiency of the pets, similarly, beast tamers and pets also need to spend a lot of energy. But this skill training machine is different. It can be used during the pet's sleep and rest time, and it won't make the pet feel tired the whole time. It also has the effect of strengthening mental strength. As Dr. Mo Ching finished speaking, the mechanics and beast tamers present were stunned. Come. Under Dr. Mo Ching's greeting, an assistant carried a rabbit with green fur onto the arena. She quietly placed the low-level transcendent whirlwind rabbit on the skill training machine. This skill training machine was similar to a huge nutrition cabin. After putting the whirlwind rabbit in, a special electromagnetic wave spread. At the same time, a new scene appeared on the screen. On a green grassland, a whirlwind rabbit was running while frequently releasing wind blades. This skill machine can let the pet enter an absolute sleep state through special electric waves. Moreover, it can let the pet use its racial skills frequently in the dream according to a specific program. This isn't just letting the pet dream. During this process, the special electric waves will also strengthen the dream's physical memory and the pet's mental strength, making the experience in the dream no different from the experience in reality, reaching the effect of increasing the skill proficiency. It can be said that after the pet wakes up, due to the increase in mental strength, it won't forget the contents of the dream, nor will it feel tired. Instead, the skill usage experience in the dream can be brought into reality. After our experimental research, the fastest result at the moment is to let an ordinary whirlwind rabbit only need 11 months and 20 days to raise its wind blade proficiency to perfect level through daytime training and night machine teaching without any resources. Chapter 538, Crossing Worlds, 5. Chapter 538, Crossing Worlds, 5. Of course, the skill training machine can not only increase the proficiency of the wind blade, but any active skill of any pet can be effectively improved through this machine. Its greatest meaning is still to use the pet's free time to increase the skill proficiency efficiently. As Dr. Mo Ching finished speaking, the crowd fell silent for a moment before erupting. On the internet, beast tamers instantly drooled. Holy shit! I want this. Many young mechanics were envious. He could let his pet train when it slept. There was such a good thing? After being stunned, the mechanics present instantly understood how helpful a beast tamer could be to training pets if they had such a skill training machine. Star Capital University has already decided to fully invest the skill training machine in various places in Star Capital University for the students to use this year. As Dr. Mo Ching finished speaking, on the platform, President Ma of Star Capital was full of smiles. He also felt that it was very good. This way, the overall strength of the new generation in Star Capital could increase by a lot, greatly saving the time and resource cost of the beast tamers' training skills. On the other side, in the audience seats of the ancient capital. After Star Capital University displayed it, Shi Yu muttered. Snatching bamboo shoots. They didn't even let their pets rest soundly when they slept. Why was he like Buggy? He had to train even when he slept. Even capitalists weren't so black-hearted. Absolute sleep plus dream training was exclusive to Buggy, but Shi Yu's expression was shocked. He didn't expect a mechanic to study this model into a machine with extremely wide adaptability. If it weren't for the fact that he had found the iron-eating beast hardening cultivation method, this thing would be pretty good for the iron-eating beast. Star Capital University was indeed something. The research results of Star Capital University every year are all useful. Principal Feng secretly complained about Dean Howe's mechanical college. Dean Howe had a serious expression. Could they even compare? How much money did they have? Right on the heels of that, Dr. Mo Ching continued to add and introduce it, proving that although the cost and consumption of this machine were not low, it was definitely not a loss if it was used on a large scale in places like the 9 major universities and the beast tamer troops. It was basically equivalent to using energy to exchange for the increase in speed of beast tamers and pets. This is really an impressive invention. As Dr. Mo Ching finished speaking, the host also exclaimed and handed the evaluation rights to the 3 judges and 2 guests. Dr. Mo Ching has always been dedicated to the combination of technology and cultivation. This skill training machine has indeed achieved a perfect fusion of the two. As expected of Dr. Mo Ching, this machine is undoubtedly a very strategic product for the vast number of genius beast tamers in Donghuang. Old Liu nodded heavily, his expression surprised as he gave a high evaluation. That's indeed the case. The increase in racial skill proficiency can also lead to the growth level of the pet. This is a relatively perfect cultivation machine, Mai Xiaoying said with a sigh. Although this machine was more effective for weaker pets and more effective when the skill proficiency was lower, and it was basically for beast tamers below the master level, this group of people had the most beast tamers in Donghuang. If they could grow quickly, the meaning would be far-reaching. In short, as long as this machine could save those genius beast tamers half a year, it would be considered an extremely powerful research. In the audience, Jiao Xian, a genius mechanic, also nodded and felt that it was not bad. Dr. Aki, Legend Ju, what do you think? President Ma looked at the two foreign friends. The young woman, Legend Ju, nodded in surprise and said, it's indeed not bad. Unfortunately, the cost and consumption are not small. It's probably very difficult to apply on a large scale, but if it can be optimized, it's definitely a huge boon to the grassroots of the beast-taming domain. She was not stingy with her praise. Of course, in her experience, this thing was already very difficult to optimize. But even so, it was not bad. It was unrealistic to want a product to be suitable for all levels. This kind of thing should be a good thing for those genius beast tamers with superior families. It could allow them to quickly transform resources into strength. With this, there would be more geniuses in Donghuang. Dream Training Machine. Beside him, Dr. Aki smiled and said, there's also such a machine in Shenfeng, and it's already applicable to various famous schools. It's indeed, as everyone said, its impact is extraordinary. It can effectively increase the growth speed of the younger generation. From the current results, this machine should still have a lot of room for optimization. It's a very promising research result. As Dr. Aki finished speaking, Dr. Mo Qing's smile stopped. There are similar machines in Shenfeng? President Ma was stunned. Yes. Dr. Aki was relatively proud. Donghuang's technological progress was still not good. An invention of this level could actually surprise these people? However, it was also normal. In Dr. Aki's eyes, Donghuang's mechanical level was indeed not high. Together with the country Shui Yuan, it was barely close to their Shenfeng. He had already expected how boring Donghuang's so-called mechanical conference would be. It was probably all stuff that Shenfeng had done. At this moment, the various judges were recording various data evaluations on their evaluation tables. In the mechanical conference, every round of display was just a display. The final evaluation results would only be announced after the conference ended. Chapter 539, Crossing Worlds, 6. Chapter 539, Crossing Worlds, 6. It was divided into 3 awards, gold, silver, and bronze. There was 1 gold award, and the other 2 awards didn't limit the number. A moment later, everyone from Star Capital University went down. The last gold award was Star Capital University. Will it be the same this year? After they left the stage, many participating teams discussed. I feel that this result is already very strong. It's better than last year's. I really want a skill training machine, a young beast tamer said. But the problem is that this thing seems to be left behind by Shenfeng. If the gold award was given for something that those guys had researched for a long time, I feel a little unhappy. Let's face the difference. We have no choice. Let's see the results of the other universities first. Then, research groups from other universities went on stage one after another. The second was the research team of Kong Capital University, led by Fanglan's parents. Their research results were a high-level commander race, a support-type mechanical pet called Son of Heaven. This pet mastered weather skills of various attributes such as blizzard, praying rain, and clear sky. This support pet in many directions indeed made many people's eyes light up. It was still a pretty good invention. Of course, compared to an invention with a wider range and more strategic meaning like the skill training machine, the meaning of the Son of Weather was not that great. After all, there were very few occasions where so many weather skills were needed. It wasn't like there weren't pets and machines that specialized in one weather skill. This kind of miscellaneous research only made Kong Capital University show off their skills. In the face of the second research result of the mechanical conference, Dr. Aki from Shenfeng also had a calm expression. Then, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth. The research teams of the various major universities came up one after another to show it. Among them, there were new machine products, new types of mechanical pets, and new theories, but compared to the skill training machine, they were actually much inferior and somewhat overshadowed. At the same time, they didn't receive any high praise from Dr. Aki. That Dr. Aki from Shenfeng is so smug. At this moment, on the internet, there were already beast tamers who were unhappy with Dr. Aki. On the side of Imperial Capital University, the old principal of Imperial Capital University was sitting in the seat. She had also been unhappy with Dr. Aki for a long time. Not only her, but many mechanics present were also very unhappy. This was because this guy's comments were all Shenfeng this, Shenfeng that, as if these innovative products were nothing in the Shenfeng nation. Why did they find such a thing to be a guest at this meeting? Not to mention ordinary mechanics, even the corners of the legendary mechanics on the platform twitched. They were a little unhappy with Dr. Aki's evaluation tone. This is very normal. Aren't the mechanics of Shenfeng always very arrogant? After all, that also comes from strength. At Imperial Capital University, Jiao Xian's expression was calm. It's our turn. I believe the next research results will shock his eyes and tear his pride apart. Ha ha, little Xian, you're right. The old principal of Imperial Capital University laughed and nodded very confidently. At this point of the mechanical conference, among the 9 major universities, there were still 3 universities, Imperial Capital, Ancient Capital, and Demon Capital, that had not been displayed. In the first round, the value of Star Capital University's skill training machine was still the highest. After that, no more dazzling innovative products appeared. A moment later. Sorry to have kept everyone waiting, Tilda. Next, let's invite the 7th display team. From Imperial Capital University, a research team led by a mechanic graduate, Jiao Xian, is displaying a new mechanical life form. As soon as the host finished speaking, the school emblem and Jiao Xian's profile picture of the Imperial Capital University appeared on the big screen, as well as the type of product they wanted to show. Team in charge, Jiao Xian. Show theme, new mechanical pet. As soon as the theme was out, the audience was surprised. It's Jiao Xian. 4th round, Jiao Xian. On Imperial Capital University's side, only Jiao Xian walked onto the arena. He was alone. As soon as Jiao Xian appeared, everyone's attention immediately focused. The anticipation people had for him was even stronger than the exhibition team of Star Capital University. Not only ordinary mechanics, but even the 2 legends from other countries narrowed their eyes and their expressions became serious when it was Jiao Xian's turn. It's him, the one with the awakening talent. A mechanic genius with the same talent as the Shenfeng mechanical legend and the Dong Huang mechanical legend. Jiao Xian's appearance also made Shi Yu, who was meditating with his eyes closed, open his eyes. He sighed at the fact that he had encountered Jiao Xian at the mechanical conference. Although it was very normal for Jiao Xian to participate in the mechanical conference as a mechanic, Shi Yu still couldn't help but sigh when he encountered Jiao Xian twice in a row. The path was quite narrow. At this moment, Jiao Xian stood calmly in the arena and looked around. He stretched out his arm and a black bracelet appeared in his palm. At the same time, a picture of the black bracelet appeared on the big screen. This is a research result that can change the current structure of the beast-taming domain. After Jiao Xian appeared, his first words directly made the crowd boil. Jiao Xian's teacher, Elder Liu, was smiling. Dr. Mai Xiaoying also revealed a shocked expression. President Ma, Dr. Aki, Legend Zhu Qianyao, and the others were even stunned. Below, Principal Feng, Dean Hao, Shi Yu, Xiao Shuang, and the others also gathered their gazes on the thing in Jiao Xian's hand. I call it the ethereal bracelet. Chapter 540, Crossing Worlds, 7. Chapter 540, Crossing Worlds 7. Etherealization, this term might not be unfamiliar to everyone. When the Beast Tamer level reaches level 7, they can use the beast taming space to develop various legendary skills. Among them, etherealization is a self-protection skill that allows the body to turn ethereal and hide in an alternate space to make oneself invincible. Therefore, after beast tamers reach level 7, their safety ability can be greatly improved in wild battles. However, for low-level beast tamers, they can't master etherealization. Their own safety, even with the protection of various equipment, is still very easy to fall into a dangerous situation. Among the skills of pets, there's a skill called concealment. When the skill proficiency of concealment reaches transcendent, pets can use this skill to help beast tamers enter the concealment state. The current state is very similar to etherealization. The etherealized bracelet I developed is a kind of spatial system that has mastered transcendent level concealment at the start. At the same time, it can sense danger and assist beast tamers in entering the etherealized state. Its cost price is not high, and it can be mass-produced. Beast tamers above the master level can afford it. Moreover, it can be maintained with electricity. Holy shit! As soon as Jiao Shen finished speaking, cries of surprise immediately came from the crowd. Apart from those who already knew, even Mai Xiaoying, President Ma, Zhu Qianyao, Xiao Shuang, and even Dr. Aki, who had never been moved before, were shocked. What did this kid say just now? This, on Ancient Capital University's side, Principal Feng, Dean Hao, Grandma Li, and the others also looked at the ethereal bracelet in Jiao Shen's hand in shock. Even Shiyu was slightly stunned. What was going on? On the internet live stream, the comments were all impressive. This Jiao Shen. It seemed like he had indeed researched something impressive. Spatial support mechanical pet. Moreover, if the cost wasn't high, could the wealth of a master-level beast tamer afford it? Let a master-level beast tamer master legendary skills in advance? For masters who were idle in the city, this might not be very valuable. But for those masters of the beast tamer troops, this thing was simply equivalent to a second life. In war, if this thing was given to a master-level beast tamer, the effect it could display could even be said to be able to reverse the battle. After all, be it transcendent level concealment or legendary skills, they were things that many beast tamers couldn't even dream of. On the market, there were many life-saving equipment and life-saving pets, but in terms of the strongest life-saving effect, it was definitely still spatial. The research results Jiao Shen took out immediately made everyone silent. Shiyu's expression also turned serious for a moment before quickly relaxing. This thing was definitely more important than the skill training machine. This Jiao Shen was indeed something. In the arena, under Jiao Shen's instructions, an assistant and pet to assist in the experiment came up. The assistant was a young man. He was wearing an ethereal bracelet, and the pet opposite him was a Thunder Wolf. The Thunder Wolf condensed the Thunder Fang and charged at the young beast tamer. However, in the next moment, as if passing through a phantom, the attack failed. With the support of the Phantom Bracelet, the young man safely ignored a fatal attack. A very outstanding research result. Seeing this, Dr. Mai laughed and glanced at Elder Liu beside her. She didn't expect Jiao Shen to still have this hidden move. She actually didn't know that Jiao Shen was researching this kind of thing. Yeah. If we popularize this in the beast tamer troops, the casualties can be effectively avoided. Old Liu also nodded with a smile. Heroes come from youths, President Ma said. The one who developed such a mechanical life form was actually a young man in his early 20s. Was this a genius? On the stage, Jiao Shen smiled and said, "I'm done showing." Excuse me, is this also in Shenfeng? With that said, he looked at Dr. Aki of Shenfeng. At this moment, Dr. Aki was very silent. As expected of a mechanical genius who had awakened his talent. Naturally, there was no such thing in Shenfeng. However, Dr. Aki still smiled and said stubbornly, "Student Jiao Shen is indeed a genius. It's true that the mechanics of Shenfeng have never studied this thing. It's mainly because we believe that attack is the best defense. The price of occupying a contract slot for a protective machine is too high, even if it has a transcendent initial skill chip. Moreover, it doesn't seem to have a high growth rate. If we can optimize it to a certain extent and increase its battle potential, it will indeed be like what student Jiao Xian said. It will be a result that is enough to change the structure. Jiao Xian grinned and clenched his fists. This thing was not prepared for powerful beast tamers in the first place. It was prepared for ordinary masters, so it reduced the cost as much as possible. This would be easier to popularize. Just like Shiyu's research on the green cocoon, it could change the structure of a fixed level. Dr. Archie, this is already a very impressive result, Legend Ju praised. I feel that student Jiao can completely take first place in this conference. The most important skill is not the ethereal bracelet, but the transcendent initial skill chip, and it's a high-level spatial skill. Even you, Dr. Archie, can't let a new machine have a transcendent high-level skill, right?